All right. Good morning, Solon, or good afternoon, Solon chemistry students. In this video, this is our, pardon the bell, first of 3 titration videos we're going to do. This video is over pages 27 and 28 in your Unit 9 packet. Just to show you which one we're doing so you kind of understand, it is this guy right here, solving for molarity of an acid. And in this setup, our burette is where we've put our titrant, which is sodium hydroxide NaOH. And in our flask is our analyte. That is the solution that we are trying to determine the concentration for, which in this case, it's sulfuric acid, H2SO4. Now, I've already prepared my flask with my unknown. So ignore that label there. So in this, I've added 15 milliliters of acid, 20 milliliters of distilled water, and a couple drops of, the label disappeared, phenolphthalein, our indicator. And the reason we need our indicator is because that phenolphthalein will change colors when we reach the equivalence point. In other words, when the base we've added from our burette has completely reacted our acid in the flask, that is when our phenolphthalein will change colors, telling us we've reached the end of the reaction. So the first thing that we need to do is to record our starting volume. So remember, with our burettes, we read them kind of starting at the top. So as I take a look at this, let's see if I can get that in frame. I don't know how clear it's going to be. There we go. So it's not quite to 17. So as I look at that, it is about 16.90. Again, I know that's really hard to see. Let me double check that. Okay, maybe 16.80. And what I'll do is I'm going to take some pictures for the other trials so you can see that. So, okay, initial volume, 16.80 milliliters. And then what we want to do is open up our valve, let that base be added relatively quickly, and let's swirl the flask. So the reason we want to swirl this flask is to make sure that our acid and base that we are adding, I should say the base that we are adding to our acid in the flask, that they react. And again, for this first one, I'm going to go kind of quick, just so this is not a super long video. You all should probably go a little bit slower in your first trial, because you don't know how much base it's going to take. Again, I do, because I've done this a couple times already. And I noticed that my pink color, my indicator's starting to change colors a little bit. So when I see that, I want to slow down how quickly I add the base. So as that phenolphthalein color starts to become more apparent, as we start to see that fuchsia, as we start to see that light pink color, that means we're getting closer and closer to our equivalence point. So that means we want to add the base more slowly. So what we can do is just barely open our valve here. And we can just barely open it up. We can just kind of add it like a drip. Again, you'll notice you can kind of see that pink color there in the very bottom. Let's swirl. And we know we've reached our equivalence point when that color stays for about 30 seconds. So we kind of have a very permanent light color, light pink color. Okay, we're getting pretty close there. Oh, okay. It's kind of hard to see. Did that stay? Oh, it got so close. Couple drops. Oh, look at that light pink color. Okay, it looks like that might be staying. I'm swirling it. Again, it might be hard to see from this angle. Let's see if I hold it up with a piece of white paper, if it looks a little more clear. Okay, so that is more clear. That light pink color is not really staying. Again, just barely open it up, a drop or two. couple drops and swirl. Kind of let it sit. Again, let's see. Oh, added a bit too much there. Okay. Again, we're going to take a quick look again. Let's see. What do we think? Light pink. Not quite. Maybe super, super close. And just barely open it. A couple drops. Maybe just 1 or 2 drops. Okay, and it looks like that light pink. Yeah, it looks like that light pink is staying even as I swirl. That is a beautiful, beautiful, let me again maybe get that a little bit closer. That is a beautiful color for a titration. Super light pink. We've just hit that equivalence point. It's sticking around. That is great. So let me record that final volume. And again, I'll show you pictures. There'll be some pictures that you can take a look at for this, for those other trials. And as I take a look at it, it's a little bit below 35. Again, maybe you can get a close-up look at this. Let's see if I can make it any easier to see. Zoom in, okay. So that we can kind of see it. Maybe 35.15. I'll take a better look at it real quick. I think that final volume would be, I was a little bit off, maybe 35.20 milliliters for that final volume. Which now I could subtract those two, 35.20 minus 16.80 to get that final volume. Again, notice real light pink here. So let me show you what we don't want. So if we overshoot, we might get a color more like this. See how that's kind of still kind of a light pink, but more obvious? That is an overshoot. We wouldn't want that. So what I want to do now is a couple more trials. And the reason I want to do a couple more trials is to minimize my error. I got my, again, 2 more flasks filled with my aniline, my acid, which we don't know. Burette has the titrant, which we do know. And I will go ahead and take pictures of those starting and ending points and hopefully be able to add it to the end of this video. All right, I have trial 2 set. And again, let's just kind of watch this maybe. So trial 2, my starting volume. Again, it's going to be hard for you to see at home. I'll just tell it to you, but make sure you copy this down. It is 4.40 milliliters for trial 2. And judging on our first one, that took about 17 milliliters. So I'm just going to kind of add my base a little bit more on the faster side now, because I know it should take about 17 milliliters, so I can go a little bit faster. And notice, even though I'm adding at a faster pace, I am still swirling my beaker. Okay, I'm about 12. I've added about 13 milliliters now. I'm getting close to 14, close to 15. Okay, so I know I'm getting closer to that equivalence point, and notice that color was staying longer. So I'm going to slow this process down a bit. Just add more at the drop speed. Again, notice that color staying longer and longer. Just even though I'm adding in another drop. Okay, let's pause and swirl a little bit. Okay, that color's staying. Again, it might be hard to see with your camera. And clear, but that stuck around a while, so let's just add a couple drops. Oop, that was more than a couple drops. Ooh, thankfully that color disappeared. Okay, we added a couple drops and we swirled. There is a very faint pink color there. Maybe one or two more drops. Okay, we do have a very faint pink color that is sticking around. It'll last for about 30 seconds. Not quite. Maybe let's try one more drop. See what we can do. Okay, we add one more drop. And again, there's a very faint pink color. Looks like it is sticking around. Very nice. Looks like it's sticking around to me. Yeah, I'd say so. All right, so let's get that final volume. And that final volume, 22.40 milliliters. And again, notice that faint pink color has stuck around for about 30 seconds. Okay, for this last trial, I'll take pictures of the initial and final and hopefully add them to the end of the video. All right, I just want you to see the end of this third titration. Right, about 15 milliliters out at this point, being a little lazy, haven't swirled, but there we go. We swirl, we make it react. Okay, let's start to slow this down a little bit. And we're swirling. That pink color is staying quite a bit longer. Okay, we're gonna get probably close to where we were in the last couple trials. So let's just slow this down a bunch more, just a couple drops. And let's swirl. Okay, that is a very light pink color. Again, it's hard to see on the camera, but it's definitely super light pink. Disappeared, so let's try another drop or two. Okay, that was more than one or two. Okay, oh, there we go. Look at that lovely light pink color. Lovely light pink. And I will take a picture of that final volume for you to read as you wrap up this lab. So based on your volume readings for each of the 3 trials, use our titration formula to calculate the molarity of the acid. Good luck, folks.